the histogram. Hey YouTube, how's it going? Chris at Island Tech here. Today I'm going to be covering part 4 of an ongoing series, the histogram. I'm actually filming directly with the Spark, well, in conjunction with my phone and the remote. If there's a little bit of lag, I do apologize for that. I'm trying out something new, but for the most part, I'm testing this out because I want to show you that the DJI Spark camera is good. On the last episode, I talked about exposure and how you adjust that with shutter speed and ISO. To get the best exposure, we utilize something called the metering tool. Basically, it's a number that represents light if it's too dark or too light. That's one of the tools that we use. Another built-in tool that I'm going to be talking about in this video is called the histogram. Let's dive into what a histogram is. It's essentially a live graph that you can show up. Simply stated, the left side is dark and the right side is bright, so that's the white. And how to utilize that, that's what we're going to go into today. Let's just dive into the app setting again. I want to practice what I preached from the last time, so let's boot this up really quick. I'm filming at night tonight, so I'm going to go in incandescent mode. I look decent. On-screen display, option on, and now I want the histogram. This is what pops up. That is what a histogram is. We talked about in the previous tool about the metering. I'm at -0.3, but this itself right here is the histogram tool. So let me break this down for you. There's 3 lines here. This is 0%, meaning this is darks, and this is lights here. And if you have a bar graph that's at this side, that means it's going to be pitch black images, like dark images here. Any darks will be representative of that. And similarly, if it's on the outside here, it'll be the overexposed areas here. So let me get rid of those pictures again, and so let's pull up the histogram. I'll put it right in front of my face, in fact, and let's zoom in on that. As you can see, that's my bar graph. So based on this picture here, I'm exposed fairly well. What you can see here is that this end here is clipped. That's the highlights here. That's the brights here, and then, but overall distribution looks okay. I'm gonna go into several examples right now. Basically, the ideal image for a histogram looks like this. The next graph, let's see here. I'm gonna show you is that if you're in a dark lit setting like it is tonight, your graph might look like this, because it's just let's say if you're especially in a dark room and you're just being highlighted, or a high contrast means there's a high dark and highlighted room, you can see that it's going to be really heavy on this side, on the dark side, but there's a distribution of at least some colors or lightness on this side, and there's no clipping. Similarly, if you're outdoors, this is what your graph may look like, just because you might be outside. If you have some dark side, then it's going to be on this, so it's the opposite. You kind of want to adjust your settings so that you kind of get this overall effect. Obviously, that's not going to be all cases, but if you can get close to that image where you're kind of sitting in between with your histogram, then you're good to go. Let's just see what happens when I lower the ISO. As you can see here, it pushes everything to left, and I am dark. The background is dark. There are some small nuances here at the end where it's clipping, or because we do have some overexposed light over there. I'm going to be switching back and forth. What you see on your screen is not representative. So you can push the brightness of the screen up, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's what you're going to see in the camera. So the histogram kind of shows more or less a accurate representation of what the picture is and how dark and light something actually is. So let's kind of raise it to the opposite end here, and now you can see that the histogram has pushed all the way to the right. Everything's overexposed, and again, I'll go back and forth. Now everything's super bright. I look like I'm well lit, but for the most part, everything around me is overexposed. It's clipping there, and I think once we look at the footage, I'm gonna be very, very bright. hardly any darks over here, as you can see, just because everything's overexposed. Okay, so I turned off my main source of light behind me. You know, if we were down at the bottom end, if you look at the histogram, I'm really dark, and then I'm really dark, and the exposure is minus 0.2. So let's go up again. You see the shape. Everything's gonna start shifting to the right. All right. So we're at 800 here. I still think I'm kind of dark. Again, this is all guidelines. I'm at 1600. This is at minus 0.3. I think I'm still dark, but the shape is okay. You know, it doesn't. I'm wearing a light shirt. My background here is white as well. So, you know, you can look at it's just basically saying there's more whites in the image. And then if we go up to the max 3200, I feel like I'm well lit, but might be overexposed. Whatever white is extremely white now. We'll see it in the footage. Let's go back and forth. But as you can see, there's no real spikes like I did with the initial background. I'll turn the lights back on again. And boom, instantly. And then boom, instantly you see lights in the in the histogram, as well as this is overexposed. If I just bring it down a notch again to about 800, that's still, I still have a spike here, but because that's overexposed. But for the most part, my image looks okay. Histogram basically just tells you from light to dark. You just have to practice. You don't have to fly to practice. Like right now, I was just showing you examples how you can manipulate shutter speed and ISO, and then just watch what happens. It's easy as just plopping your drone down and just messing around with it while it's on the ground. Point it at different directions. You'll notice how the histogram will change, and that might give you a guideline as far as how you're gonna fly in a certain direction without either peaking or spiking. And just to recap, the histogram is another tool, you know, available on the DJI Spark. It'll help you get through proper exposure. It'll help you look out for clipping, you know, both on the dark side and the light side. Basically, if that happens, adjust your ISO and your shutter speed to kind of get that ideal shape that I was talking about. Using conjunction with your metering tool, again, you wanna set this up for the subject you want in hand. Is it gonna be me, your subject that's in front of you, a car, or the backdrop? Again, is there any other tools that you guys would like to know about for the DJI Spark? I do want you guys to leave a comment below. I love answering those questions for you. I'm learning. I want you guys to learn as well. That way you guys get comfortable with the manual settings. So when you do move from the DJI Spark to the Mavic or the Phantom, all these tools, if you can use this on one platform, you can definitely use it on another. That'll make you more proficient, more efficient moving forward as a cinematographer, and just get overall better films. If you guys like this video and found this informative, please give me a thumbs up. I do appreciate all the feedback. I love the interaction with the Spark community, DJI community. You know, don't be afraid to ask me questions. I will try to either answer it on the comments below or address it in a new video. How do you guys like this new kind of setup where I'm kind of using the camera as well as the Spark straight up? Do you guys like it? How is my image? If you guys already haven't done so, please subscribe to my channel below here. Click the button below. I do want to continue producing these for you. Again, guys, I do appreciate you guys tuning in. And as always, fly safe and mahalo plenty.